KonMari is more for like cleaning and organizing. Fumo is more for like decluttering of the mind. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobras Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. Today's minimalism video is going to be my top 3 minimalism books. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it. Let's go. Woo! Some housekeeping stuff. If you haven't done so yet, consider checking out my Patreon if you want to make any small donations, and if not, then just help me out with the algorithm by giving this video a thumbs up and a subscribe. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, let's get into book number 1, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. I would rank this one in place number 1 because I think this one is probably one of the most more of the well-known minimalism books that are out there. There's plenty, but I decided to talk about the 3 that I have personally read and have influenced my life in some significant way. This one is very gentle and is kind of easy way to ease into minimalism. In this book, she talks about many points, among which she talks about not just organizing your clutter, but to actually let go of things. And she does so with the strategy of what brings you joy, which I think is wonderful, because I think that's kind of the point of minimalism, is to kind of focus on what's really important to you and what actually makes you happy, instead of just trying to declutter for the sake of decluttering. So I would recommend this book for somebody who's just kind of thinking of, they want to do some spring cleaning, maybe just spruce up their stuff, and they want some step-by-step stuff. In her book, she also talks about ways to fold things, from smallest to biggest, lightest to dark, a way of folding her clothes. You can even watch a lot of her videos on YouTube too. She's really helpful. So I would recommend that for somebody who's just thinking of maybe embracing minimalism, or just maybe decluttering in a very happy and light kind of way, in a more organizational sense. Then I would recommend that book for somebody who's looking for that. Number 2, the second book that I would recommend for somebody who wants to go more hardcore with their minimalism would be Goodbye Things by Fumo Sasaki. He's actually also a Japanese, and in his book he has actually mentioned that he himself has also read the KonMari method. But yeah, his book I feel is more, at least to what I feel is minimalism. I really like the way that he addresses a lot of emotional aspects of oneself. He talked about decluttering his jealousy for others' wealth, others' status. He talked about letting go of certain items for just in case. He let go of collecting things because his house is not a museum. I know that a lot of people wrote on Goodreads reviews saying that why would anybody
I read a book about a man who used to drink and now lives like a monk. What a useless book.
But I have found that Fumo Sasaki's book, I read it twice, once as an audiobook and then again actually reading the actual book. I found that what he has to say was really deep and really wonderful. And he himself, if you've watched his videos on YouTube and his interviews and stuff like that, he says that he's just an ordinary dude who wanted to kind of just, I don't know, I guess figure his life out. And he felt as he had less things, he kind of started to get his life back together. He was just kind of unhappy with where he was with his relationships and stuff like that. So that's kind of the beautiful thing about his book, I feel is that anybody maybe in their 30s who are feeling kind of stuck and are what am I doing, I think this book could be really helpful in realizing that when you let go of your material possessions, you open yourself up to change and to having a different life if you're not really happy with where you are. At least that's how I interpreted the book. These books are totally up to everyone's own interpretation. So yeah, if you want a bit more hardcore of letting go of stuff and getting down to the nitty-gritty essence and more philosophical stuff, I recommend Goodbye Things. Okay, and that brings us to book number 3, which is Do Less by Rahel Jonat. This is actually the first book that I read on minimalism, or was even introduced to the concept of minimalism. I was kind of on a low buy because I had read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and in that book it talked about how the rich buy luxuries last. So I was buying less, but for different reasons, more of a financial journey type of thing. But I don't even know, fate would have it, shortly after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I came across Do Less. And in this book, she talked about the things that she doesn't do anymore as a minimalist, and it's just helped free up her life. And among the things that really struck me was she stopped dyeing her hair or painting her nails or wearing makeup. And I was whoa. I was I don't know how to tell you, but at the time, at 20 something, reading that was really radical for me, and thinking that I don't have to do those things. Granted, it took me a really long time in my minimalism journey before I came to a place where I could let those things go. It was deeply ingrained in me. But I think it's a very practical book, and it's almost in my opinion, the more practical, just step by step how to do minimalism for the sake of minimalism than the other books. The other books KonMari is more for cleaning and organizing. Fumo is more for decluttering of the mind. I feel Rachel's book is more kind of okay, so here are some of the things that I have done with my minimalism. See what you can take from it. Here are some tips and tricks. So I really recommend that book if you want something light, and if you don't want anything particularly radical or heavy, just help you along in your minimalism journey. I would recommend Do Less. Okay, so there we have it. Those are my top 3 minimalism books. If you enjoyed this video, give this video a thumbs up, and if not, I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!